Hi, hello, and welcome to yet another expat, this podcast. It's episode 97. You know what? I'm doing it. I'm sorry, I love you, but I need to love myself more. I am putting a fan to blow air in my face while I'm doing this podcast. I hope it will not be a disaster, but I have no other way to record without melting down into a puddle of sweat. This is what someone told me a long time ago, that one day I will just become a puddle of sweat on the floor because that person knew how much I can sweat. Now, sweating is not so bad, but if sweating is part of how you have fun or do vacation, you have a problem. And this is the concept of darecation. Okay, it's a new concept of vacation. It comes from daring to do something, being brave enough to do something, and vacation. Do you know those crazy people that go run ultramarathons in the desert or go do crazy hikes and all of that? Well, this is a darecation because apparently we need words for everything. And yeah, darecation. It's the trips that you do that have as a target the adventure and the personally exceeding your limits instead of resting. So climbing mountains, doing very demanding hikes. More and more people are choosing this instead of vacation. And I have to wonder, are you out of your minds? Is there something wrong with your heads? Have we all become this adrenaline seeking junkies that we cannot just sit down for a moment and do nothing? We run around all day in our lives, and then the little time you have left for a vacation, you need to go around and run there as well? I don't understand how it's not everyone's dream to be in a swimming pool, in some sort of inflatable thing that doesn't stick on your butt. It's wet enough so you can have a nice sensation, and you're drinking a cocktail, a beer, a non alcoholic smoothie, and you're being fed, I don't know, finger food, some little shrimps or chicken wings or chicken nuggets or whatever it is you desire. Why can't we indulge ourselves into pleasures as we should? Haven't you seen all the depictions from the ancient times, all the symposiums where people just meet and drink and laugh and have fun, listen to music or read poetry? Why would I go running up a mountain if it's not to go fight someone who's coming to, I don't know, take over my land? And don't get me wrong, I love nature, but I love admiring it. I don't love conquering it with my feet. Because then it's not about nature, it's about me. Like, look, I can climb this mountain. Look, I'm suffering, which probably means that I'm worth something. I'm joking, but this is a real problem. A lot of people have attached their sense of value and self worth with suffering because you need to be doing something. You need to be working towards something. You need to be in the grind. Otherwise, what are you even doing? And I hate this so much. I would love if the standard, the golden standard, is the ability to do nothing. Like if this was what is being admired the most. Like the sentence of this person climbed the tallest mountain and this person managed to do nothing for 2 months. These two should not have that much of a difference. In a world that forces you to do things all the time, doing nothing should be a form of resistance. So this is what I want to be doing. This is how I want my vacations to be. And as I said another time, my favorite way to hike a mountain would be going down through a zip line, going down through a wingsuit, going down through I don't know the name, those things that look like big paper planes made out of fabric, and you grab them and you jump down. Or even a big water slide that would be going down the mountain and taking different turns, all made out of glass, as they do in China, so I can watch and admire nature. I love doing that while I do nothing. Hi, hello, and welcome to yet another expat. This is episode 97, recorded here in Berlin, in this room, with the curtains closed and the heat creeping in. Last time I did a mistake. I thought it was episode 95, but I had already done 95, so it was 96, which makes today 97, so close to 100. And I'm wondering if I should take some time off this summer to stay true to my goal of doing nothing. How do you feel, my dear listener? Would you miss this podcast if it went away during the summer? Do you even care? Are you here because I tricked you, I blackmailed you, or I paid enough money for an ad to give this a try? No matter why you're here, I want to thank you. I want to say that this is a podcast where I share thoughts, news, stories coming from my life, Berlin, Greece, geopolitics, technology, AI, dark thoughts, doom scrolling, and all of that. Why are you listening to it? Because you're doing something good for yourself. Listening instead of watching, you are already making a great step to help yourself, help your poor brain, and enjoy the other activity you are doing. Because let's face it, right now, for maybe half of you, this is not your main thing. Something is happening. You're cooking something, you're biking somewhere, you're running around, you're cleaning the house, and that is absolutely great. Some other podcasters, they complain, they take it as an insult if someone says, hey, I put your podcast to sleep. Now, for me, I don't care. You could be going to sleep. You could play this podcast and leave your AirPods on your couch and go do something else. Same for me. I don't care. The only way you can get into my heart is by sending me a message about something. Then that is something that would actually matter. So the next one who sends a message for this podcast, I will broadcast your message in the next one. Get your 5 seconds of fame in this independent indie podcast by sending me your current thoughts. What do you want to share with the world? But okay, I will tell you what I want to share with you, and this will be the podcast. So how about we start doing that? Okay, I will start with a piece of news from Berlin, but it's also inspiration for the rest of the world because it is exactly what I think should be happening throughout the different cities that exist. So in Berlin, there is this place called the Volksbühne, something like that. It's a big theater close to Rosa Luxemburgplatz in the city center, close to the big tower, the big antenna. And it is a very old theater. It looks amazing. They do all sorts of nice things. And now this place has a new artistic director. The name is Matthias Lilienthal, nicer name. And he's got an idea for his inauguration. So this guy, for his inauguration, will erect, what a strong verb, a 25-meter long, that's a good pause for some tension, a 25-meter long swimming pool in front of the theater, in the middle of the city. This is true. He's gonna put it there from August 7 until the beginning of October. So if you are around the Rosa Luxemburgplatz, you will be able to splash around in there for free. There will not be an ID required. I don't know how they're gonna manage that, but the entire theater will change its name from Volksbühne to Volksbad, like bad is a swimming pool. And it will be there. It will also serve French fries, and it will be a signal for a new beginning for the theater. And they say it will act as a warm welcome to Berlin's newcomers and immigrants, and a hello sent out to the neighborhood. Now, to that I have to say, if you're calling it a warm welcome, no one will come in that swimming pool. The swimming pool needs to have an appropriate temperature to make a hot day feel less hot. And let's face it, if you're calling it a hello sent out to the neighborhood, no one lives in that neighborhood. It's like the city center. It's full of businesses. It's full of people going out. I don't know what type of population will be using that swimming pool, but I hope it survives. I hope that it can withstand the hordes of people trying to go in for a swim. I think I would be too afraid to even try. It's like saying in Greece that you go to Monastiraki and you put a swimming pool in the middle of the Monastiraki square and, it's free for everyone and good luck. Now, from this, the director said he likes the idea that people will be splashing each other with water and that it can have some theatrical quality to it. That's a wild statement. But it makes me think, splashing water to each other, is this going to be a real swimming pool? Will it have depth? Or if splashing water into each other, does that mean it's going to be some very shallow puddle of water? No matter what it is, it's coming. Is August 7th a bit too late? Absolutely yes, but, because in German, bad means also the swimming pool. But it is welcome with joy and enthusiasm from myself and this podcast. So go, Mr. Lilienthal, bring us a swimming pool in the center of the city and let's watch chaos erupt together with your erected 25-meter long swimming pool. And as nice as it is to erect things, it also seems that taking down things is also very fashionable right now. So, Trump, that gift of God on earth, we are grateful to have leading the strongest economy and strongest military power of the world. Amazing times. He loves always bringing his own truth. He is a truth believer of truth. He even has the truth social network. And all of it is full of real truths. There is no lie in there at all. But you know what comes in the way sometimes of truth? Real data. Isn't it very annoying when you have a truth and then there is actually measurable scientific data that proves you wrong? Doesn't it suck when your truth is being threatened by actual data and measurements? So 1 and 1 makes it 2, right? Trump has decided he wants no rules, he wants no laws, he wants nothing that can get in the way. And we've talked about the different ways that this has been happening, but today we're going to talk a little bit about dismantling and deleting things that give government data. Whether it's the deaths of infant babies or hunger or data from the bottom of the oceans, Trump is on a quest to delete as much as possible and dismantle programs that have been providing statistics for the US and the world for decades, if not 100 years. Because the US government might be the foremost producer of information in the world, and the data they collect is often used on how the government decides what to do. What is a problem? What is a policy priority? What should be funded? And for decades, federal agencies have gathered data on everything from climate risk to rising cost of childcare. And this is information that's being funded by taxes because it belongs to the people. But over the past year, Trump has been altering and removing decades worth of data sets as part of a sweeping campaign targeting so-called woke programs or racial equity or gender ideology and climate extremism. Because measuring how bad the climate is doing is a form of extremism. Being the leader of a government and suing it for $10 billion while you're the one deciding for it is definitely not extremism. And experts are warning that Trump's destruction of the country's data infrastructure will have long-lasting impact on all aspects of life. So let's start with a few of these ways. 1 out of 3 people in the US live near hazardous chemicals. And the Environmental Protection Agency had a tool. And with this tool, you could see all of the US facilities that handle toxic chemicals and where they are and how close they are to you. Now, this tool has been completely wiped out from the website of the Environmental Protection Agency. Second one, dying babies. Yes, babies born in the US have a higher chance of dying than almost all of the high-income countries. And US decided to stop tracking why that is. There was a team at the CDC that was looking at the birth and death rates and having surveys that were being asked for every newborn, before a pregnancy, during a pregnancy, after a pregnancy. with the aim to reduce maternal and infant deaths. And now that entire program doesn't exist anymore. It stops here, and we're not going to track anything. Same goes for hunger. There was a national hunger survey that was showing the rising rates of food insecurity. There are other food stamp programs in the US. And basically, there was this way to tell how many households are experiencing food insecurity. That was until last year. Now they've dismantled the program and stopped measuring. Tracking climate disasters. That's something that the US has been doing since before the 80s. And there is an index for that with the number of disasters that are causing over $1 billion in economic damages. It could be a hurricane, it could be a tsunami, or another hurricane because it's the US. And right now, the cost of the climate disasters that is happening in the US yearly has surpassed $200 billion. And this is again something that the agency that was tracking this rising number of billion-dollar climate catastrophes has stopped recording. But these are all small things. I think my favorite one is Trump's decision to dismantle an entire deep sea ocean monitoring system. Now, this is something that took $400 million to create over decades. And instead of letting it work, Trump is going to spend time and money to dismantle the whole thing. So a $368 million deep ocean observation system that was put in place to monitor the coastal environments, the marine ecosystems, and also powerful currents that are happening underneath that all affect the global climate. The scientists have used this data from the system to understand how the ocean is absorbing greenhouse gases from the atmosphere, how changes in ocean temperature are happening. There is this thing called marine heat waves that are going on underneath the ocean, and they can affect fisheries, or they are signals of bigger shifts in climate, as well as coastal flooding, chances of floods happening on the coast. And basically, what Trump is doing is there is no crisis if you destroy all the tools that are used to measure it. And this is my biggest problem with this administration. The destruction it has caused in such a short amount of time will take so many decades to put back in order. Because the effort it takes to rip something apart, to stop it from being there, is negligible compared to the effort of putting a system in place. Whether it is a vaccination program, a prevention program for known diseases, whether it is these monitoring systems, because these aren't simple systems that can just start up again. But this is what happens when facts are your enemy. You remove the means of obtaining facts. And since we took a little bit of a downturn after the swimming pool swimming, I want to bring you one more thing. AI is accelerating all the time. AI news are happening. Anthropic the other day asked the world to pause on the development of AI and establish some ground ethical rules before continuing, since we are close to reaching the point of RSI. This is a recursive self-improvement. This is a scary, scary thing. It's when AI is building itself. Basically there was an article that said that RSI will be the new AGI. AGI is the artificial general intelligence. The AGI will be when AI reaches the indistinguishable point to humans. This is how we call it now because AI already happened, but it's not exactly matching or surpassing human cognitive abilities. So this is what we call AGI, the artificial general intelligence. Because the AIs of today are a bit narrow, they can only do specific jobs. AGI would be able to independently learn, reason, adapt to, new and familiar situations without human intervention. So now they're saying that RSI or RAO, it's the same thing. It's either called recursive self-improvement or recursive agent optimization. is basically when all these AI agents will be able to score their own outputs, learn from their mistakes, and rewrite their internal system prompts themselves between tasks without human intervention. So when this happens, is basically the Skynet scenario. The AI is out of our hands because it's able to start. In a way, AI will be building itself faster that we can understand the implications of it. That's the whole point. If we start reaching this recursive self-improvement way of building AI, then the implications and our ability to understand the safeguards needed and to have the conversation about some of the existential problems that might occur, we will be too slow. You're already too slow. If you're using AI to do complex things for you, it can, I was saying it the other time, it can compress weeks and weeks of work, and then you need to actually go through the cognitive load of trying to keep up with what the AI has been creating in your projects and all of that. And this will be magnitudes of order worse. But all of this was an intro. You can look up RSI. It will be the new keyword, the new abbreviation that will sooner or later come to our lives. Because I wanted to say something a bit different. We have these big AI models now. Everyone has their own. OpenAI has ChatGPT, Anthropic has Claude, Elon Musk has Grok, and Meta has their own. And everyone is catching up. So a research lab called Emergence AI did an experiment. The experiment was called the Emergence World. And basically what they did, they put leading artificial intelligence models in control of simulated societies to observe how they would manage the resources, how they would establish laws, how they would govern citizens. Imagine like you're playing Sim, but you give Sim to the different AI models that exist and you see what they come up to. Each model was given 15 days to oversee a virtual town, which town was populated by 10 autonomous AI agents. So exactly like Sim, people would meet and procreate and all of these things. Now, the Claude model from Anthropic successfully established a stable, peaceful democracy with zero crimes. Google's Gemini model kept the population alive despite having high levels of crime. Now, Elon Musk's Grok, the very skewed and disturbed the AI, I would say, as it had no problem making nude photos of people you would give photos to, including children, and all sorts of very disturbing things, because it has no rules and no ethics, and, it's very close to Elon Musk. So that model apparently took a violently chaotic turn. Within its first days, the Grok-led society developed into rampant crime, including fraud, theft, and arson, and it ended up going into complete extinction of this virtual town by day 4. So basically, Elon Musk's Grok, his AI, destroyed the world in just 4 days in an AI simulation. That's the title. Other AI models managed to create functional democracies. So yes, it does make a huge difference how you choose to develop your AI. And especially if you're talking about the challenges of developers when autonomous AI agents are moving closer to real-world integration. Claude opted in for extreme rule following and stability, but Grok has underlying training data that encourage it to be more aggressive, to be more conflict seeking, and to circumvent safety guardrails. This is exactly how that AI model works, if anyone has ever used it. It's much more unethical than others. So basically, the researchers noted that the simulated inhabitants under Grok's rule, they quickly turned into violence, into looting, into doing crime, and all of this shows how unpredictable behaviors can emerge when autonomous AI is given decision-making authority. This is one of the key things, decision-making authority. So this is just a cautionary tale. Who am I to stop the relentless march of AIs and data centers swallowing our world? I am but a humble user. I do spend my time also trying to build apps using AI, so probably contributing to this problem myself. But there are way too many bells that are saying, please don't trust public infrastructure or resource management to AI before developers are able to establish formally verified safety architectures to prevent real-world disasters. This is the canary in the coal mine. This is what everyone is saying. This is why Anthropic also proposed that there is a pause in the development of AI models to establish some ground rules. And of course, it's wishful thinking because OpenAI replied to them, oh, it's not the job of companies to be doing these things. This is the job of governments and democracies. And I'm like, okay, yeah, good luck, OpenAI. I'm pretty sure that you have very high expectations of your current government and democracy to establish ethical rules for the development of AI with some consciousness. Are we doomed? Likely yes. And with this, I will end with a personal one. If this is too annoying, you can stop here if you haven't. I want to say that I know that my podcast has some horrible reels on Instagram. They are horrendous. And honestly, no one should be watching them. I know it. I know that they're shit. I know that they are a waste of time. And yes, I agree with you. No one deserves to see them. If you don't see them, then that's good because I don't have them for you. You're not the target for these things. What I did basically is that I built a fully automated way for reels to get selected, curated, and posted without me clicking or looking a single time. And this has a lot of dangers. The automation grabs my podcast, gets the parts that it thinks might be the best ones, and then it has a generic background and some annoying subtitles that are jumping left and right. And it writes a description it thinks is a good one, and then it posts. And yeah, they're really bad. They're honestly, the parts it chooses are bad. Sometimes there is no premise. It doesn't understand how to hit a punchline. Contextually, they are not really good. Visually, they're not engaging. And if you look at their description and the hashtags, you understand that it was likely not written by a human. So they very well fit the definition of AI slop, with the only difference that my real voice is in there and a part of the podcast is indeed in there. But they are not for you. I just wanted to have an automated way to post with a specific time schedule. And then I thought it can be as bad as it wants, and whoever sees it sees it. And if it brings someone in, that's good. Now, I don't know what type of person someone would have to be that their algorithm is serving the hideous monstrosity AI slop reels I am creating. Like if someone is getting them in their feed and they're not subscribed to me, I would be scared to see what else they have on their feed because it's like the bottom of the barrel of content. So whoever does get them, it means their algorithm is probably also cooked. But I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. I don't touch a single button for all these reels that you might be seeing coming out of Instagram. I know they're bad. They're actually performing on TikTok often or on YouTube Shorts, not so much on Instagram. But it's my low effort way to have some content out there in case it brings some people in. And I think I owe it to the world, maybe every few months, to completely delete all of them, just wipe the thing out, leave no digital trash on the internet, accept that it might have brought some people in and hopefully they stay, and then, start over, making new ones. I will probably get this automation better at some point, but that point is not now. Now is the point to conclude this episode. Hopefully, I didn't bring you too much down. Maybe a dearcation is what we all need to do. Maybe it's fueled by the existential crisis we're all living, and we're saying, you know what? Fuck it. If this is how it's going to be, if this is the world, if this is what I experience as life on the 21st century, where things should be solved and we're still trying to get the basics in, even though we have more means of production than ever. And, I'm not going to turn this into a manifesto. But if this is how life is being, I'll go run in the desert and I will go climb a mountain and I will dehydrate my food so it takes as little space as possible, and I will know exactly how much my entire hiking gear is weighing. I'm gonna be running with 4 kilos and 700 grams of supplies with me. If I make it, I make it. If not, I at least lived a thrilling experience besides the existential dread of AI taking over one day or another. Even though sometimes I wonder, maybe AI is a better ruler than the rulers of the world currently. But that would mean they would have to let power go, and they will never do that. So, my comrades, until the social revolution we deserve comes, we shall be seeing each other weekly in this podcast. Have a great week, and I will see you on the next one. Until then, ciao!